lighting's not the best here, but we're just gonna make it work. Today, we're gonna talk about a game that I don't know how many people have actually even heard of it, but, you know, I'm really enjoying it, and I feel like a lot of people would really enjoy it, and that's gonna be Tokyo Xanadu, EX Plus specifically, because I guess it was originally released on either the PSP or the PS Vita, and I have it on the PS4, so it's the EX Plus. So anyway, let's get into the gameplay. Alright, so the gameplay is a little kind of all over the place for this game, in the sense that there's just a lot of different like moves and like meters that you have to watch in order to do the special moves. You know, your square button does long range, and then the X button is you do your regular normal attacks, and those are considered physical. And then, you know, you have your hold down the lockdown button and hit R1, and then you do a big super attack, or you hit the down button and you get another person. You get the idea. It's a lot of stuff in fighting, but while it does seem crazy at first and is slightly overwhelming, you do get the hang of it, and it's easy enough. And besides, obviously, the battles and like dungeon crawling, the other half of the game, basic kind of like life simulator like you see in a lot of RPGs, where you can do some side quests, you go buy stuff, you can decorate your room with some anime waifu figure and a fancy bed. Yes, those are both things that really happen. And, you know, you can go hang out with your friends, but you can only hang out with them to get the friendship level in certain times. Kind of like Persona. But honestly, I think the gameplay is varied enough. It's fun. The fighting system, once you get it, it is really fun and great. So anyway, let us move on to the story. Okay, so there's a lot involved in the story, and I'm gonna try to explain it all without giving away too much, but basically how it starts, you know, it's your normal anime stuff. You know, you're going through high school, and of course there's this new mysterious person in class, kind of, and your main character, Ko, he ends up going out. Okay, first, actually, he sees this new girl, she's being hassled by these two guys, and he's like, oh, you need to leave her alone. And then he ends up getting sucked into what is a labyrinth through a gate. And he's like, what the heck is this? And of course there's monsters and everything. You get out of there. He wants to talk to her about it. She tries to erase his memory, and it kind of works. But then one of his best friends, she ends up getting taken over and opening a gate from within, and he's like, no, I'm gonna help you save her. So then you find out about, you know, these labyrinths and the monsters that are called greeds. I mean, greeds are basically just monsters, and that is the most basic gist of it that I can say without giving away too much, because there's obviously a lot of story, there's a lot of different characters, so explaining everything, I could be here all day, but that's the base gist. So honestly, it kind of sucks, because in some ways the best way to describe this game is it's a lot like Persona 5. And the only reason I say that kind of sucks is because, you know, people say, oh, it copied Persona 5 or whatever. It's like, well, it didn't copy. I mean, when you think about it, there's a lot of the JRPGs have very similar stuff like that. It's just series like Persona happen to be bigger than others. And, you know, so it's it's not exactly copying, it's just there are a lot of similarities, but there's so many games that do that anyway, and that doesn't mean other games are copying or bad. And this game is definitely different enough from Persona, like, because you have, you know, the soul device, you have an actual weapon, it's not a Persona, you have the elements with it, which yes, Persona has that, but, and of course you have, you know, your little, like, dungeon, you know, you have to go through a dungeon every night, but a lot of games, again, have that. So it's definitely its own game, and definitely, honestly, I believe, worth checking out. It's also not as long as some other games. I mean, it's definitely still a pretty beefy game, but like it's not as long as other JRPGs especially can be. So if you want something that is a little shorter, this one is better to pick up. I can't say anything about the PSP or PS Vita. I don't know anything about that version. I mean, I'm sure it holds up fine. But honestly, I would just say get it on the PS4 because it seems like the PS4 is the more definitive, all-inclusive edition. So I would say, you know, just get it on the PS4. One thing I do have to say is getting, you know, full friendship level with people seems to be a lot easier and quicker than in Persona. But then again, this game is shorter as well. It doesn't go for a whole calendar school year, from what I can tell. So things like that are quick. There are a lot of different, you know, as I was saying before, a lot of different, how do you say, different kind of movesets with the fighting. Like, during the first part of the game, it can feel like you just get tutorial after tutorial and thing after thing thrown at you, and you just get lost in everything. I know I was completely lost, but once you are playing through it, everything does make sense just as any other game does, and while it seems like a lot, you get to learn everything, you remember what everything are, you understand things. It's just, it seems like a lot is thrown at you, and it is like feels like an extremely complicated game, but it's really not that bad, and it is quite enjoyable. I mean, the characters, you know, a lot of them are kind of fairly basic, you know, stereotypes or the archetypes, but they're honest. I enjoy them as people, you know, I like them, I take getting to know them, they're cool people. The stereotypes aren't so, like, overwhelmingly bad. They're still, you know, people with personalities and are interesting and everything. The art style, it's not the best animation, but it definitely could be worse. I mean, it just kind of looks like a lot of, like, the JRPGs will, where it's a little more basic, I guess, in the art style. It just looks a lot like them, but honestly, it's not bad. It runs smooth. You get a lot of the big attacks are really nice. There are some bosses that can be a little more annoying than others, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the strategy with bosses is the strategy that I have with bosses that always works is run in a circle and use the square button, because that's the projectile, and just shoot at them, and then, you know, build up your EX drive, all that stuff, and then just wail on them. So run in circles and shoot. That's basically my strategy for bosses, and it hasn't failed me yet. Once it fails me, then I'll stop doing it, but it hasn't failed me yet, because I've only gotten, I think, maybe about halfway through the game. Obviously this is a first impressions because I haven't finished it, but I am really enjoying it and very much looking forward to finishing it, and I honestly highly recommend this. I don't think it's that hard to find. You can even find it on the PSN store, so shouldn't be that hard to find. I just found it in GameStop, let's see, in 2019 when they were doing the Black Friday sale. That's when I picked it up, and you know, the horde of games that I got, so shouldn't be too hard to find. Definitely recommend picking it up. Anyway, if you want to keep up to date on what is going on with everything, go ahead and follow my Twitter and Instagram below. I'm also going to start streaming on Twitch at some point, hopefully soon, so I also have that down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. You don't have to, but it just lets me know what you guys are enjoying. And leave a comment about if you played this game, or maybe any other, you know, JRPGs that aren't Persona or whatever that you have enjoyed, or any RPGs. Specifically more JRPG, but really just any RPG works. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I upload every Monday, and Wednesday is a Let's Play video. We're doing this as an experiment for the beginning of the year. We're going to see how well those go. But Friday is always going to be a video like this, where it's a discussion video. But anyway, that is going to be it, and I will see you all next time. Bye! We're going to talk about my thoughts and opinions.